So why are Toronto buyers moving here? People who sell a townhome in Toronto or Mississauga for over $1 million and suddenly realize they can buy a detached home surrounded by vineyards here for much less. So let's start with Beamsville. Most people driving from Toronto to Niagara pass it on the QEW and never even stop. But Beamsville has quietly become one of the fastest growing communities in the entire region. It sits right in the Niagara fruit belt, which means vineyards, orchards, escarpment views, and some of the best wineries in Ontario. 30 Bench, Redstone, Megalomaniac, Vienny, Good Earth, one of our favorites, and you've also got Bench Brewery. Now the lifestyle here is very different from the city. Farmers markets, local bakeries, small main streets, but it's still right off the highway and about 25 minutes from Hamilton, so it feels peaceful without feeling isolated. Next is Grimsby, and this is probably the town that surprises Toronto buyers the most because it's the closest Niagara community to the GTA. Lake Ontario on one side, the Niagara Escarpment on the other, and a beautiful waterfront community in between. For buyers coming from Toronto, the prices can feel surprisingly reasonable because similar homes in Burlington or Oakville can easily be hundreds of thousands more. And commuting here is actually realistic, about an hour to Toronto depending on traffic, and it's much closer to Hamilton or Burlington where many people work now. Then there's Vineland. Vineland is much quieter and sits right in the heart of the Niagara wine country. Some of the most respected wineries in Ontario are all right here. Vineland Estates, Taw's, Hidden Bench, and there's an incredible farm-to-table restaurant scene developing around it. You'll find estate homes, vineyard properties, and quiet neighborhoods surrounded by agriculture. For people looking for scenery and lifestyle, this area is very hard to beat. Now, honorable mentions, there are two smaller places I always mention when people start exploring this part of Niagara: Campden and Jordan. Campden is tiny, but it's surrounded by vineyards, farms, escarpment views. If somebody wants countryside living but still close to the QEW, this is usually where they should start looking. Jordan Village is different. Historic buildings, art galleries, restaurants, and Cave Springs Winery right in the village. It's one of the most charming little pockets in the entire region. So earlier I mentioned that one of these towns is actually where my family ended up moving. That place is Campden. I built a very successful real estate business in downtown Toronto, but when my kids started getting older, my wife Jess and I had to ask ourselves a big question: what kind of environment do we want them growing up in? See, we wanted them outside, riding bikes, playing in the yard, not just growing up surrounded by concrete. So we made the decision to move to wine country and bought a log house in Campden. And honestly, it was one of the best decisions we've ever made. Jess wants chickens. The interesting part is my real estate business didn't slow down. Today, Jess and I run an Icon Award-winning real estate business serving both Toronto and Niagara clients. So when people ask about relocating from the GTA to Niagara, I'm not just giving advice, I actually went through the same decision process myself. So prices. One of the biggest eye-openers for Toronto buyers is the price difference. You can still find homes in areas like Beamsville, Vineland, around $800,000, depending on the property. But compare that to Toronto, where detached homes can easily be $1.3 million, $1 billion. So a lot of people sell in the city, come here, and suddenly they have space, views, and a completely different lifestyle. Now, commuting, a big question everybody asks is, how is the commute? From Grimsby, you're roughly an hour to Toronto, depending on traffic. Beamsville, maybe 75, 95 minutes, but many people living here commute to Hamilton or Burlington or work remotely. For many families, the trade-off is so worth it, because instead of waking up surrounded by traffic, you wake up surrounded by vineyards and the escarpment and maybe chickens. Now, one thing I like to mention in these videos, because people sometimes hesitate, if you're watching this and thinking about relocating from Toronto to Niagara, please don't feel like you need to have everything figured out before reaching out. A lot of conversations Jess and I have start 6 months or even a year before someone actually moves. People are just trying to understand the towns, the commute, what life actually looks like. And that's exactly what we want to help people with. If you're exploring the idea, feel free to reach out anytime. Look us up, read our reviews, and if it makes sense, we'd be happy to meet or jump on a call. Our job isn't just helping people buy houses, it's helping people make the right decisions for their families. So if you're someone living in Toronto thinking about Niagara, don't just look at Niagara Falls or Niagara-on-the-Lake, which is beautiful. Some of the most interesting places in the region are towns people drive past without realizing where they are. Beamsville, Grimsby, Vineland, hidden towns that probably won't stay hidden much longer. And if you're curious about relocating from Toronto to Niagara, comment Niagara down below. Jess and I would be happy to send you a breakdown of the towns GTA buyers should actually be looking at. Or, better yet, take a drive down and let's meet at a local winery and have a drink.